one more day. Just one more day. And then I'll finally be back up to Cuckoo Lake. Holy cow. Like, I'll be honest. Oh, hold on. Happy Thursday, everyone. I'll be honest. My low, and I was actually going to say this yesterday, but I really wanted to wait until it was over to pass judgment and talk about today, obviously. This is like, you know, sometimes like a week goes by fast, and other times a week goes by really slow. To me, it felt as if this weekend was going at medium speed. Like, only, like, Monday was obviously a slow day. Tuesday, maybe a bit faster, not so much. Yesterday was a pretty quick day. And now we're already here. So, yeah, medium speed. And it's so strange. Like, a part of me was legitimately expecting for this week to be incredibly slow just because Cuckoo Lake is right within my midst. And of course the last obstacle is always the hardest, right? So, the fact we're already at Thursday really does fill me with hope. Even more so because with Hot Ones coming out today, I really couldn't think of a better way to spend my day. And as well as a few other things. I'll get to that in a minute. So, if I were to say what my low was, I would have to say, I guess the fact that everyone was lulled into a false sense of security yesterday. Because for all intents and purposes, it really was supposed to rain. And it didn't. Because lately, like, the weather this week has been so great that I need to roll down my window so my car doesn't become a veritable fire pit. Seriously, you ever been inside your car on a hot day? It's not fun. Like 70 degrees outside will turn your car into a 100-degree oven. Well, 100 degree for, people. Seriously, I have some friends who really don't care for the heat. Honestly, they would risk legitimately getting their car stolen just so they can roll their windows down. I'm sure they'd be smart. To at least take the keys with them, right? I mean, I know hot wiring is a thing, but Lord knows I have no idea how to do it. But, again, everyone thought it was going to rain, so I rolled my windows up thinking, hey, I may not even need to wash my car. It didn't rain. Now I'm probably going to have to go. My car isn't necessarily what you would call dirty, but yeah, I should probably, get it cleaned at some point. Probably after this video I'll do it. Let's see, my high is, okay, so for the most part, I actually have all my clothes ready to take up to Cuckoo Lake with me. There's just a few things I gotta wash before I take up. My mom actually noticed my wardrobe, right? And she's like, I need a new wardrobe. So, yesterday we went to Tommy Hilfiger. There's actually a Tommy Hilfiger. For those of you who don't know, Tommy Hilfiger is a person who's from Elmira, who's a great fashion designer and businessman. He is quintessential Elmira royalty. And his clothes really are that. But I'm wearing one of his shirts right now. This isn't one of the shirts I got yesterday, but I am wearing a Tommy Hilfiger shirt right now. Hashtag not mad. Just a fan. Okay, listen. Just a fan is kind of a stretch. Really, I'll wear anything that keeps me from being nude in public. Okay? That's my favorite designer, okay? Anything that keeps me from being nude in public. Technically it's already the law, but I'd rather enforce that law, wouldn't you say? So, We shop at Tommy Hilfiger. I got myself a new summer wardrobe. Man, I have a load of clothes to take up to the lake with me. A lot of clothes. This should be fun. So I have my so we went to Tommy Hilfiger, and after that, my mom and I got ourselves some ice cream from Dippity Do Dahs, which I can't believe. I mean, I may have talked about Dippity Do Dahs before, but never at length in the kind of post I did, referring to it. But for those of you who don't know, actually, before I talk about Dippity Do Dahs, let me get to my act of kindness. This could be a long tangent. My act of kindness was I took in the garbage cans yesterday for my parents, and I also filled the dishwasher because it was empty. So, yeah, that was my act of kindness for my mom and dad. So let's talk about Dippity Do Dahs, because I've made it no secret hundreds of times at this point, it feels like that anyway, that I love frozen treats. I love frozen treats. Like, give me a dessert, don't get me wrong, I love cake, I like pie, cookies are always a home run, brownies are also a home run, but, really any of those desserts are a home run. Come on, man. Ice cream is king. Really anything frozen is king. And as much as I love Rita's Italian Ice, make no mistake, I love ice cream. I love that you can get ice cream year-round from a grocery store. I love it when you get ice cream from like a seasonal place, like the Dairy Barn, or King Conan Elmira, or Seneca Farms up at Cuca Lake. It just hits different. And I mean that in the best possible way. But the one problem I always have at those places is, again, they're seasonal. They are not open all year round. You never really get, if you're in the mood for having ice, I mean, I get why. Because if it's cold outside, why would you ever want to have ice cream? Homie, because ice cream is, honey, that's because ice cream is delicious. That is why you want ice cream, okay? I mean, it's the perfect food to complement a dinner at times. It's perfect for when you're undergoing a breakup or you're watching Netflix. Really, ice cream is like that quintessential thing that we all love. There are people who are lactose intolerant like, yeah, I want ice cream. Enough said. However, again, places like Seneca Farms and the Dairy Barn, they're seasonal. They only get their business at most 7 months out of the year. And again, that's at most. So every day they're open, they really need to make it count to, afford for the workers that want to afford a living. And really anywhere seasonal is like that. I mean, half the places I talk about that are at Cuca Lake, they're seasonal. Places like the Antique Inn or Union Block Italian Bistro in Penn Yan, they're right by Cuca College. Trust me, people are going to go there for dinner, especially when parents are visiting their students or their kids for their students in college or whatever. So the idea of, being open year-round isn't necessarily lost at Cuca Lake, but again, when you're open up seasonally, it either makes or breaks you. Nothing can possibly go wrong if you're open year-round, because you can always start over. If something goes wrong seasonally, say, there's one place at Cuca Lake called Snug Harbor that burned down, so it took 3 years or something for them to fully get back on track or something. I don't think, it may not have been that long, but it felt like it. My point is, you gotta be really careful with that stuff. So, I'll never forget, it was 2014. even a little bit before that, I heard rumors that there's actually an ice cream shop that's actually open year round. It was new to me. Like, you're kidding, right? Because ice cream shops open year round isn't necessarily a lost concept. In fact, the best example I can think of off the top of my head is Gerald's Pharmacy in Horseheads, right across by Jubilee Plaza. Do they still do ice cream there? I don't know. It's been a really long time since I've been there, but they did that. Like that, yeah. Gerald's on Garner Road, right across the street from the Jubilee Plaza. Some people from the area know what I'm talking about. And there's an ice cream shop open at the mall that used to be Baskin Robbins, and now it's like, it specializes in Hershey's brand ice cream, which Hershey's brand ice cream is great ice cream. Well, speaking of Baskin Robbins, there's now a Baskin Robbins in Horseheads, right across the street from the mall. Yeah, it's actually like one half of the building is Baskin Robbins, the other is Dunkin' Donuts. It's as if I'm back at Trinity Palling all over again. Anyway. Sorry, I got a fly in my throat, excuse me. Okay, so I heard of a rumor that this place is open year round. And I really did try looking for it for a long time. And little did I know, it was right under my nose. As in, at the time, because this place changed its location to literally a street over. It was, at one point, it was right next to Anelio's. And not right next to Anelio's, but within that same sort of parking lot area. This place is called Dippity Do Dahs. And it is arguably the best place to get ice cream in my area. I mean, in terms of being open year round, definitely for sure. In terms of comparing them to some of the seasonal places, I mean, look, man, Seneca Farms is going to do its thing. I made no secret I think Seneca Farms is probably the best ice cream this area has to offer. But again, that's seasonally. Open year round? Yeah, I'll give it to Dippity's. And don't get me wrong, I love Baskin Robbins. I love Hershey's at the mall. But for one thing, Dippity Do Dahs is local. And one thing that we should all be doing is supporting local. Absolutely, we need to support local. And even when we do, seriously, it's as if we give it all the credit it deserves, and yet we don't give it enough credit at all, you know? Really, any local business, it feels that way. So, there you go. So I go into Dippity Do Dahs that first time back in 2014. Excuse me. And I walk in, and immediately I'm hit with just like the biggest whiff of their homemade waffle cones. Which, at that moment, I knew that place was legit. But I needed to test out a few things to make sure. So, over time, I would sample several of their flavors. The biggest surprise they ever had, they haven't had this since, but maybe this video will finally bring it back. They once made a sorbet. Everything there is homemade, by the way. They once made a sorbet out of Banty red wine from Bully Hill Vineyards at Cuckoo Lake. And I thought it was one of the most impressive things I ever had. Because you got that sort of pungent, slightly fermented kind of, because wine is fermented grapes, we all know this. Pungent, fermented sort of bite that a red wine would give you. But in order for this to really work, they needed to burn off the alcohol, which they did. So you don't get any of that bite from the alcohol. More importantly, they made it so the vast majority of a traditional of the flavor of a red wine stayed intact. The only reason why you got sweetness is because it's a sorbet, everybody's got to be able to eat it. I thought it was one of the most unique tasting things I ever had. And Dippity Do Dahs has always done a great job of making their flavors unique. In the realm of, like, yeah, there are flavors you've all seen before, you know, chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, the whole shebang. But they did it homemade, and again, when it's local and homemade, it just hits differently. Like, more so than anything you're ever gonna get at, like, your typical grocery store. However, if there's one flavor that had me hooked from the very beginning, it was salted caramel. I love caramel. I love all things caramel. Caramel apples, caramel coffee, caramel popcorn. Of course I grew up eating Werther's Originals. And of course I had Werther's Originals. I also had like those tiny like cubes of caramel that are like individually wrapped in the clear plastic. Man, I love those things. Seriously, like there were times where before I went back to college, my parents would like get supplies for me. I always had like a big bag of those caramels. And it was gone within a few days. I love those things, man. Like, seriously, there was one time it was like caramels and like lemon flavored hard candy. That's what it was for me at one point. So needless to say, caramel I love. I think when it comes to desserts, caramel is one of those things you can never go wrong with. And what was so really cool about this caramel, like normally when you see caramel ice cream, you think like caramel swirl, and this is like it looks like a typical like solid flavored ice cream like vanilla or chocolate, but it tastes like caramel, and you can taste that inherent saltiness in it because caramel and salt go incredibly together. But the icing on the cake, no pun intended, is actually partly because this is food related, but also because they actually do ice cream cakes. Yeah, actually, before I continue, they do really great ice cream cakes. In fact, I forget what birthday. I think it might have been when my mom turned 55, maybe? No. Actually, it might have been like 55, 56, somewhere in there. And it was the first time where, I'll never forget this. My family actually wanted to eat dinner at Lib's to celebrate both my mom's and my then brother's girlfriend's birthday. This is before they got engaged. It was 2014, I believe, and we wanted to celebrate their birthday at Lib's, and so I got them an ice cream cake. Seriously, if you don't know what flavor of ice cream to do for their ice cream cake, they'll help you. But for this first one, I did simple vanilla chocolate because my now sister-in-law loves chocolate cake, so technically she got a chocolate cake. And the cool thing is, they let you decide what sort of layer you're going to have in between the flavors of ice cream. And I went with peanut butter. So basically, you had a double-layered vanilla chocolate ice cream cake with peanut butter in the middle. And it was amazing. So Dippity Do Dahs being able to get ready for a party, that's no problem at all. But now we gotta get to the flavor of that. But now let's get back to salted caramel and the thing I was gonna talk about at the very end. The icing on the cake here, no pun intended, is when you order their waffle cone, sometimes they'll put hot fudge at the very bottom of the waffle cone. So you get the waffle cone, preferably after it's cooled for a little while because you don't want your ice cream to melt right away. But you get your waffle cone, they put the hot fudge at the very bottom. You can actually feel the hot fudge through the bottom of the cone. And the hot fudge mixes with the cold ice cream at the very bottom of the cone for that perfect last bite. Man, I tell you what, few things get better than that. So, with Glass Fest coming up this weekend, and with the weather being 75 degrees, I am absolutely positive that Dippity Do Dahs is going to be the one place that will be more busy than either Anelio's or Atlas. And rightfully so. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it's either standing room only or there's a line out the door. Actually, that's really one really great thing about Glass Fest is local businesses are going to thrive this weekend. Specifically the ones that are on Market Street. And anyone who wants to go to the Core Museum of Glass, I suppose. And maybe the Smithsonian Museum. I didn't feel like I said that right. So, there's definitely some options of what to do. And and believe it or not, they're having another 2,300 degrees tonight at the Core Museum of Glass. I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to go. I'll have to play that by ear. But regardless, I have a very busy day for me. Because there's definitely a few things I want to do before I leave for the lake tomorrow. And they all got to get done today. So, wish me luck. I hope you liked this video. If you did, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humble in this video for all of you guys watching Joe Video. Hopefully you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Thursday. And remember, if any of you guys want to talk to me, I'm going to let me know. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.